Now, in a society where men use wedding contracts to dictate terms and conditions to their fiancés, the women of Saudi Arabia are using their pre-wedding contracts to assert their right to drive. Here's a report on how their driving changed, literally. It's been a year since Saudi Arabia allowed its women to drive. Amal and Nada are the proud founders of the country's first female car club. That's not all. In a major breakthrough towards asserting their right to drive, Saudi women are now getting it embedded in their wedding contracts. Wedding contracts have long been a safety net for brides in the deeply patriarchal society, used for getting a guarantee on demands that are often subject to the whims of the husband or his family. Such legally binding contracts typically codify everything from the woman's right to have her own house, hire a maid, or to study or work to her social relations and external activities. Since last year, when the kingdom lifted a decades-long ban on female motorists, a popular new condition in the contracts is the right to own and drive a car. To understand the need for driving to be included in a woman's pre-wedding contract, one must understand the struggle behind Saudi's newfound rights. In September 2017, Saudi Arabia lifted ban on women driving. In January 2018, Jeddah Shopping Mall opened its first car showroom for women. In June 2018, Saudi Arabia issued driving licenses to 10 women. And Saudi women finally hit the roads. While Asil Al-Hamad became the first Saudi woman to drive an F1 car, Sarama Thomas became the first Indian woman to get Saudi driving license. It remains unclear whether women have any legal recourse should their guardians prevent them from taking the wheel. Many in the kingdom appear to be trapped in this troubling scenario, even though the kingdom overturned the ban on women drivers as part of the Crown Prince's wide-ranging liberalisation drive. Hence, women prefer to include the driving condition in their contract to avoid any marital conflict over the issue. Let's just say it's a way to guarantee that the husband remains bound by his promise. Men also sometimes use wedding contracts to stipulate that the wife will never work or that she must agree to live with his mother. But now, the conditions are a sign of the kingdom's social transformation that appears to be granting women more rights. Will these conditions impact marital harmony in Saudi Arabia? Or will women be able to sidestep patriarchy in the Islamic nation? Some big questions still remain to be answered. Bureau Report, WION, World is One. Now, we've also been talking about global warming. There have been conferences, political calls to action, protests. It's not just another catchphrase. The crisis is real, and Europe is learning it the hard way. The continent is already bracing itself for what many are calling a heat wave from hell. Here's a report.
A week-long heat wave has begun its advance across continental Europe. France, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Austria and Rome have all issued high alerts and advised people to stay indoors as temperatures are set to touch the 40-degree mark. Weather officials say the reason behind such an unseasonal and early heat wave is winds blowing in from the Sahara Desert. A storm strolling over the Atlantic Ocean and high pressure over Central and Eastern Europe are causing hot air to be sucked up from the desert. In Germany, temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius are possible in some places on Wednesday, topping the country's previous June record of 38.2 degrees Celsius, which was set way back in 1947. Parts of North Germany are also on high alert for forest fires. France has issued an orange alert, which is the second highest alert on its 4-level categorization system. Authorities in Paris are setting up cool rooms in municipal buildings, opening pools for late-night swimming and installing extra drinking fountains.
Pour aménager les choses, mais c'est une vigilance toute particulière dans les services d'urgence, les services de santé comme les EHPAD qui seront aussi prises pour permettre d'abord d'avoir les mesures de prévention d'hydratation, les mesures d'accompagnement et les prises en charge les plus rapides des personnes les plus vulnérables parce que comme vous le savez, dans ces moments-là, ce sont les personnes malades, les femmes enceintes, les nourrissons et les personnes âgées qui sont les plus vulnérables et auprès desquelles il faut être non seulement vigilant, avoir des mesures de prévention, mais pouvoir intervenir le plus vite possible.
In France, the impending heat wave is also bringing back memories of the long and deadly heat conditions of 2003, when more than 15,000 people had been killed in heat-related incidents.
It is sweltering here in Paris. Weather forecasters say it's the hottest week on record in June, and those records go back to 1945. The peak of the heat is due on Thursday, when 40 degrees centigrade are expected in central Paris, and forecasters say that will feel like 48 degrees because it's so humid. So as you can see behind me, Parisians and tourists are cooling off whatever way they can in fountains and also in misters and drinking fountains that the City Hall have set up across town to try and help people cool off. During France's latest big heat wave in 2003, more than 15,000 deaths were attributed to the heat. French authorities say that they've learned from that experience and they're putting more precautions in place at this time, including extra drinking fountains for the homeless and air-conditioned spaces across town where vulnerable people, like the elderly and homeless people, can cool off in this heat. This heat is set to go on for at least another week, meaning it can affect major events like the Women's World Cup currently being played in Paris. FIFA say at the moment they're not planning to postpone any games, but they may be giving players extra breaks. Elena.